Welcome to Touching Spirit Bear coverage here on the official Lesson School channel. This is the first part ever. Here we go. Before they went to sleep, Edwin showed... Okay, before I start, we did read chapter 16 without you. Okay? I'm sorry. But we had to. I felt like it. Before they went to sleep, Edwin showed Cole how to suspend the coolers of fresh food from the high branches in case bears visited during the night. Tomorrow night we'll dance, he said. What do you mean dance? Cole said. We'll build a fire and dance our feelings. Edwin offered no more explanation, so Cole didn't ask. But long after Edwin and Garvey fell asleep, Cole lay awake in the tent, listening to their deep, regular breathing. The hard ground made his hip and arm ache. Outside, the wind strained through the treetops and deep in the trees. A branch broke. Memory of the spirit bear flashed into Cole's mind. Was the bear still out there? Was it angry, or was it only curious? Cole tried to fall asleep, but troubled thoughts hounded him. What was his mother doing right now? Was she thinking about him, too? And what about his father? Did he care about anything other than himself? Cole thought about his own troubles with the law and about all his troubles at school. He thought about Edwin, about Garvey, and about Peter. He truly did hope Peter would be okay. As he tossed and turned, Cole found himself growing angry again. He tried to fight back with a familiar rage in his memory of touching the spirit bear, but nothing seemed to ward off the bitterness and frustration that flooded his mind. Edwin had been right when he said that anger was never forgotten. Cole thought about his past and about his future. Tomorrow he would begin building a shelter under the watchful eyes of Edwin and Garvey. Even with his bum arm, he'd probably do all the work while they sat around on their butts like they had today. And then what? What would happen after that? After they left, rather. Cole imagined the cold, the rain, carrying water, keeping a fire going, doing schoolwork, and long, long hours of being alone and bored. That wasn't much to celebrate. Cole's angry thoughts repeated themselves like a stuck record until they finally slipped into a troubled sleep. Almost immediately, a hand shook him awake. Get up and come with me, grunted Ed. What time is it? Cole grumbled, his head still numb with fatigue. Where are we going? Hurry, Edwin ordered. It's almost morning. Cole clawed his way out the sleeping bag and fumbled into his shirt and pants. The icy air had made his cold clothes stiff, and he shivered. He heard Garvey still snoring loudly as he crawled out of it into the brisk air. The faint glow of dawn showed over the trees and dimmed the stars as Cole started to pull up on the tennis shoes. Edwin stopped him. Put these on, he said, holding out a pair of knee-high rubber boots. Tennis shoes aren't much good up here, except around camp. Cole was still pulling on the second rubber boot when Edwin headed out. Let's go before the sun comes up, Edwin said, setting off a brisk pace. He had a small pack slung over his shoulder. What's the big deal? Asked Cole. His stiff joints ached as he hobbled to catch up. Morning shouldn't be wasted. By the time when they reached the stream, Edwin breathed heavily. His pot belly definitely wasn't from too much hiking without stopping. He waded into the water and used the edge of the stream as a pathway to avoid the heavy underbrush. He picked his footing deliberately along the slippery bottom. Working his way upstream, Cole followed, splashing along stiffly in the gathering daylight. You tossed and turned half the night, Edwin said. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Any reason? Cole didn't answer right away, just thinking. He said. When Edwin didn't reply, he added, my mind gets to thinking and won't quit, like it's chewing on tough meat. It won't swallow a thought and won't spit it out. It just keeps chewing over and over. And the thinking makes you mad, right? Cole nodded. It's like my mind wants to be mad at something and it won't quit. Even now, I'm mad. Edwin stopped beside a long, rocky slope that rose several hundred feet to their right above the shallow valley. On their left, the stream flattened into a large, calm, crystal-clear pond. Stream about 100 yards. The stream gushed through a rock gorge, calming as it flowed into the still pool. We're going swimming, said Edwin, dropping his small pack to the ground. He slipped off his jacket and shirt. Are you not? Exclaimed Cole. It's freezing. Trust me, said Edwin. To do what? Kill ourselves? Edwin kept stripping. Half of being trusted is to trust. He reached down and picked up a thin stick. Cole eyed the sticky wily as Edwin waded out into the clear pond. Hesitantly, he removed his clothes. Glancing at Edwin, who had already swum over and seated himself chest deep on a rock ledge across the pond, Edwin's eyes were closed, and he held the small stick against his shoulder patiently. He breathed deliberately, as if unaware of the cold. Slowly, Cole waded in, gasping as the icy water rose around his chest. He held his breath as he pushed off the bottom and swam the last 20 feet. Cripes, it's cold, he exclaimed, and as he pulled himself up beside Edwin on the underwater rocks, Edwin remained still, eyes closed. Next page. We've got 3 more pages. Cole hugged arms to his chest, but couldn't stop his teeth from chattering. The water nearly covered his shoulders. He felt stupid and vulnerable. What was he doing in a million miles from nowhere, sitting in a freezing pond beside a bizarre Tlingit and Indian with a stick? What's the stick for? He asked loudly. Edwin opened his eyes as if coming out of a sleep. Calmly, he held up the stick. The right end of the stick is your happiness. The left is your anger, Edwin said. He handed the stick to Cole. Break off the left and get rid of your anger. Shivering, Cole took the stick, and his fist broke off one side. Edwin shook his head. You broke off the left end, but the left end still exists. Go ahead, break it off again. Again, Cole broke the stick, and again, Edwin shook his head. Why did you leave the left end of the stick when I asked you to break it off? That's stupid, Cole muttered. The left end will always be there. Edwin nodded. People spend lifetimes breaking their stick to get rid of anger. But always anger remains, and they think they've failed. So if I can't ever get rid of my anger, why even try? Cole asked. Edwin reached and took the remaining piece of stick from Cole's hand. His fingers toyed with the wood as he looked up the sunrise that has begun to glow warmly over the trees. And thanks so much for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Chapter won't be finished with us, so we'll see you next time. Subscribe!